I really feel sorry for people in their 20s who didn't get to at least enjoy, because they were told, oh, when you grow up, when you're done with school. And now they've grown up and they're like,
I would really like if, as a part of their storytelling, they are saying that this is what we intend to do in the next 2 years, in the next 5 years, in the next whatever, this is where your tax is going. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of The Off Air Show with
Bemi.
And I'm Tools. How you doing? You good?
I'm great. I'm wonderful.
Hungry? Have you eaten? Are you okay? Apparently that's how you show love.
In Nigeria.
That's a key way to show your love. Have you eaten? What would you like to eat? Anyways, I mean, not like I can do anything about it.
Account balance, account credit alert. That's what I want to eat. Okay, well, speaking of showing love, thank you to Jay's Diner. Shout out to them for hooking us up.
Everybody that does
anybody that does not clap will not get any food. Clap. Woohoo! Woo!
He's clapping because he got a big tray last week. Big shout out to Jay's Diner.
Yeah, shout out to you guys
for feeding us. And you know what? We actually have to wait till we finish shooting because some of our dresses would just be like,
makeup will spoil everything because we really get down.
All right.
But yeah.
Okay, so we have got a jam-packed show for you today. We are going to be talking about something that Bimi and I love a lot.
We all love it. I don't think I know anybody who doesn't love this.
Let me tell you, if I get like a good credit alert, it's like, when you've just gotten into your bed, right? And it's just nice. And it's just, that's how it feels. Like a nice, robust credit alert. Robust credit alert.
Okay.
We're going to be talking about money, so make sure you stick around for that.
All right.
And we have got hot tea, small shade.
Small shade.
But first, let's make sure our throats are nicely lubricated.
That just sounds very bad. And it was me that started it too. I know, but it just sounds so bad.
Thank you to Gordon's Gin for making sure that we aren't parched.
Is this Rodo on our drink?
Yes.
Wow.
This is not Rodo now. This is Shombo. This is Shombo.
The long pepper, for those who don't know. Or those who don't cook.
All right. So what are we going to cheers to? Let's cheers to robust credit alerts in our lives. Amen.
Hey.
Robust credit alerts in your life as well.
I wish you robust credit alerts.
Because
less
credit alerts, debit
alerts.
Yes.
Less base in your life.
But if you have robust credit alerts, you're not really worried about the debit alerts.
If the debit is more than the credit.
That's why I said robust. Robust. Because there's some credit alerts you get that you're just like, oh, that's nice.
You're so rude.
But then there's something you're just like,
you just start dancing.
My boss.
One time, they were doing my makeup, and then I got this credit alert. I jumped down, danced around the chair first, and the makeup artist was like, oh, for real? I was like, for real?
There was one time, my husband sent me money, and he didn't tell me. So I just saw it. I was looking at it. I was like, wait, 1, 2, how many zeros? I just went back. Boss, after you, now you.
Can you imagine?
Twale, baba me. I did grand, change the day.
That's saying, happy wife, happy life.
Yes, give your wife money and,
the rest will follow.
Maybe. All right. So did you see this crazy video of Neo? He was on stage.
Performing.
He was on stage performing just by himself. Actually with dancers.
Yeah.
And then this guy just came on stage and you can see his dancer looking at the guy like, who is this? What is he doing? And Neo paused for like a few seconds. Then the way he pushed his head.
With his head like come on, get out of here. Yeah.
And as much as I'm very conflicted about Neo right now, I'm still very conflicted. I support it. Because why are you on stage? So I support Neo. I support Burna Boy.
I support every artist who pushes you away from their stage because you're ruining their performance. I don't think people realize that people rehearse for this. This is their job. So don't come and do nonsense. I don't care how much of a fan you are. Don't come and do nonsense at my job. Simple.
Write a letter if you love me that much. Why do you need
hold
to...
a placard.
But can you imagine being on stage, right? Imagine you're on stage, you're hosting an event or something, and the next thing you know, somebody jumps on stage and they're rushing towards you. how would you think this person loves me? The first thing you're going to do is scream and be like, oh my gosh, what's happening?
No, so I knock you with the mic.
But I really would love to speak to somebody and just understand what's going through their mind just before they jump on stage.
They say, I'm fine. Remember when, I think it was Future, when he came to Nigeria to perform, 2019. He's performing and then this little scrawny guy jumps on stage and the way the bouncers cleared him, phew, I was like, okay.
Do you know the ones that are really funny are the ones where they get tossed off stage? Like they literally just get tossed off stage and you're just like, oh my gosh, like, is the person okay?
It's good for you. Whatever you see there, once you jump on stage, whatever you see there, that's your business. Good for you.
Okay, so one of the things we're going to be talking about later on in this episode is the 2026 tax doom.
Gun.
But apparently, nobody is safe. Even if you're a pum-pumpreneur.
Wow.
You're not safe.
Wow, she said.
If you're a pum-pumpreneur. Because you're thinking, well, this is not, a conventional job. I don't need to pay tax. But apparently, even if you are a pum-pumpreneur, you have to pay your tax.
Oh my gosh.
You have to pay your tax.
Why, the reason, why did he target those people?
Because some of them are making... Why are you acting like you don't know these people are making money?
There are so many informal jobs. Why is it those people?
Because that is a very, very, I don't want to say lucrative because...
It's not lucrative for everybody though. I think we hear the success stories. Abi now. We do.
What? The way you said that, I think we need to have a guess.
Because there's levels. There's the ones that are receiving exotic cars and houses.
And then there are the ones...
Somebody? No. And then there are the ones that are receiving shawarma. So there's levels.
Wait. You sleep with someone for shawarma?
Some people do it. Quite sad.
Well, like 2K shawarma?
I think it's sad either way, whether it is shawarma, cigarettes, drinks, or...
There's no one that's sleeping with somebody for cigarettes. There's nobody that's sleeping with, like, no. That's, at least, whatever you do, one of my mottos or one of my theories is, whatever you do, have ambition. Don't be freaking sleeping with somebody for cigarettes.
Maybe that's the intern level.
Now, wow. Anyways, what did our good fellow say?
Who is that?
We said that they said that you have to pay tax.
Oh yeah, the guy said something along. I think he was speaking at an event coincidentally at a church, or ironically, should I say, at a church, and he said, "Oh, I think someone had mentioned something about what about gifts or what about," and he was like, "Look, even if you're Aaron's girl, you will pay tax." And I was just like, "Sir, you could have said any other profession. Why is it those people?" But anyway. It is well. There's so much
I want to know how they're going to track that. I mean, it's basically, this new tax situation, it's connected to the inflow into your account.
I mean, we'll find out. There's an expert coming to speak with us about money, and we're going to ask her about this tax thing, because everybody has been setting ring light on TikTok. People have been sowing threads on Twitter. People come out and say, "You're a liar. That's not what it means." And you know what? It's time we get someone to break it all down.
Somebody that knows what they're talking about, because
knows her onions.
There are a few people that have set ring light and then they're explaining it and then they get confused and then and I'm like, how, if you don't understand it, how am I supposed to understand it? So so she's going to be taking us through this whole tax doom 2026. I was going to say something.
Doom.
That's what they're calling it now.
Oh gosh.
I was going to say something. As a pum-pumpreneur, what if you get paid in cash? That's it.
It must not be plenty unless it's foreign currency, because I mean,
a lot of people are going to go back to keeping money under their mattresses, man. All right, so make sure you stick around. We're going to be talking to our special guest in just a few minutes.
Progress no dey happen just like that. It dey come from support when you need am.
Mommy, I got the school fees. You too much.
Na money point o.
Money point, thank you.
Customer, na transfer abi? Confirm.
Bro, na transfer.
Na money point, oga. Oh, na confirm.
Progress na peace of mind when you know say payment go land as sure banker. Progress na small wind where they carry person go far.
No worry, yourself go make am. Mo go buy ball.
Victor, even you, they use money point?
Of course now, they use money point.
Confirm.
Money Point, made for your progress.
Our special guest is here and we're going to be talking to her about money, tax, everything. Now, I know that it sounds like it's going to be a serious thing, but we're going to break it down so you can understand it. And we're not saying you're not smart. We're just saying that sometimes these topics can be a bit boring. No, it's true now. Some people will just see and think, money, taxes. But listen, especially if you're a Nigerian, you might want to listen to this conversation.
Shit's about to get real.
Yeah. All right. Our guest, please, you have to clap for her, ladies and gentlemen. Our guest is a financial educator and she is the founder of Money Africa as well as Ladder. Put your hands together for Tosin Olaseinde.
Welcome.
The money lady.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
I'm excited to be here. I've been watching your show like one day.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. And we have a lot of questions for you. But first, let's start with these rapid fire questions. Do you want to start?
Yes. Okay. So I've said it a few times today. Remy said I'm overreacting, but treat me like I'm a 5-year-old. Explain Tax Doom 2026 in just a few sentences.
In a few sentences, it's going to be getting more revenue for the government and with the hope of making things better. We want them to actually make things better. I hope they do.
If taxes had a personality, what celebrity would it be?
Who is on and off?
Kanye West.
Please, please.
Unpredictable.
not like that, man.
Portable.
So on and off.
Actually, I think Portable. Because it gives us new updates every time. There's something new.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but wait. So you guys are saying Tax Doom 2026 is like Portable. Like, I don't really think that's a good thing.
Over the last 3 years, there's always something new. Like, this is the most updates we've gotten in a very short period of
So
time.
then you pick somebody that basically shares too much, but, the way you said Portable, I got scared.
okay.
I got a little bit
Okay,
scared.
fair point. I'm going to think
somebody
of
just
someone.
shares, you know what? Let me just shut up because you guys will now say I mean. What's the one tax law you think should be erased forever?
Taxing low-income people for, they should increase that gap. They should earn to a certain extent before they start taxing them.
Yeah.
Okay, this one is juicy. If the Tax Doom, I don't know why we're calling it this, Tax Doom 2026 had a soundtrack, what would it be? What's the song you think of? Problem. You know that song? Who did this beat for me? Something. That was that song.
Or maybe something by, what's it called? The guy with the bell.
What's that?
Terry G. Something, I don't know, because it's just it's like crazy for me, man. Maybe something by Terry G.
Okay. I know we've been joking about this tax thing, but can you break it down to us? What exactly is going to happen in 2026? Not necessarily, we were scared of rapture a few weeks ago, but I'm just saying, so what's going to happen to everybody?
Okay, so in summary, what the government is trying to achieve is this. They want people that earn more to pay more, and they want people that earn less to pay less. So if you earn anything 800,000 naira or less per annum, you're not going to be paying any tax. 800,000 divided by 12 is about 66,667. So technically, if you're earning up to the official minimum wage, you will be paying taxes.
Okay.
That's number one. Number two, they're out for freelance content creators, all those people that do not have the regular 9 to 5. They're monitoring your income. So now they're getting preview into what you earn, and they want you to start declaring, and they want you to start making money, paying taxes on it. Also, for lots of Nigerians living in Nigeria but working for US companies, we're seeing that now with remote workers. They want to start monitoring that and want you to start paying taxes on it.
Okay.
Another one as well is the TIN that everybody has been talking about. But getting a TIN is also very, very easy. So without a TIN account, you will not be able to access things like bank services, amongst others.
That's tax identification number.
Absolutely. Tax identification number. Everybody needs to have one, which is actually quite easy to get. I don't think it's a cause for concern.
So not just like business
individuals.
What if you are being paid in Bitcoin
That's a good
and
question.
stuff like that? How are they going to monitor that?
But guess what? when you want to spend, you will change that Bitcoin into Naira and move into your account, because a lot of service providers are not yet that savvy that they're accepting coins. So eventually you still have to change some money and put it into your account, and they're seeing that movement. So even if you have multiple accounts, there's a way they consolidate it and they can see that.
BVN, your BVN.
Exactly, they can see all your movement. So they are now saying it, and they want everybody to know that we can see how much you spend, and we want you to do that. So if there's any part of it that is a cause of concern for me, it's more about how they are talking about the story. Because if you really, really dig into the numbers and you look at it, if you're any minimum wage, you'll still pay taxes amongst others, but it's just more about how it sounds like, it's more like they're selling fear.
Yeah,
because if you actually break down and look at the numbers, it's not as bad. But the way they are going about talking about it, it sounds like double taxation and it sounds like fear.
Okay, so it reminds me of, I think, could it be a cultural thing? Because you know how when you go, for those who went to school in Nigeria, whether secondary school or maybe university, when you go to a lecture hall and the day one, the lecturer is telling you, half of you are going to fail this course. The day of doom is here. And I'm just like, teach and go now. Like, we've all experienced this. Like, a lot of us have in secondary school, university, they're going to tell you, most of you are going to fail. You're going to carry over because this course is very hard. Is this what they're doing?
So is there a lot of fear mongering?
There's fear mongering. Let me give you an example. As a business owner, if you don't make up to 100 million naira in a whole year, you're not going to pay taxes on it. And guess what?
Are you not hoping to make over 100 million naira?
I don't think that could happen in 2026.
It will happen for me in Jesus' name. Times 5, safe. Amen.
Okay, you know what? Let me look at one of my businesses. Okay, it will happen for me in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Let me claim it.
If you look at the numbers again, majority of businesses are not making up to 100 million. So they could have led with that. Do you know that if you're not making up to 100 million naira a year, you're not yet paying taxes, but please document things like PAYE for your employees now, right? They want everybody to put all their stuff. And let's be honest, I know lots and lots of friends with startups that I know that they are not up to date, but there are other ways to do it. Okay, let us give you a few months off. Let's give you like a 1 year off, put your house in order. There's so many other things they could have led with. So I feel like it's more about the storytelling. Also, they're going after multinationals. They want them to pay a flat fee of 15% on taxes. But majority of us do not own multinational companies. Do you get? So how are they telling that story? Because at the end of the day, it's the person on the street. How do they sell it to them without making it look like we're coming for them?
My question, I'm so sorry. My question also is, if someone sends me maybe 1 million naira in my account and they say gift, are they going to tax that as well?
If it's a gift, they shouldn't tax it.
Okay.
If it's an income, you sold something, you offered a service, that's different, because the person sending you that gift has already paid tax on that money. Okay. So if they tax it in your hands again, that's second time double taxation.
Yeah, so that's what I'm concerned about, you know. I mean, if you're receiving lots of gifts, if it's your birthday and, you know, people want to send you gifts here and there, don't come and take 15. How much is it again? What's the percentage?
It depends. Like, there's a climbing rate, and the highest rate is 25%.
Okay.
So how is this tax going to be collected?
From your
They
account?
want you to file. Sometimes they also have something that the tax office, because they did that to me like 2 years ago. And also, guys, be very intentional about social media and what you post. So you can't be doing private jet every now and they send you a revision of what they think your tax should be, and then you fight against it. So they use that as a benchmark as well. So be very intentional about how you portray yourself on social media.
Sometimes, if you see me in a private jet, it's a private jet studio. Oh, that one that we went to in Surulere, it's a private jet studio. Sometimes it's just content.
Oh, yeah. By the way,
content.
Please mention it. So, for instance, I'll be going to work.
I can't. If I'm flexing,
okay, flexing, I get you.
I can't be like, private jet, but it's actually a studio.
Fair.
I just,
Fair.
Yeah.
So I'll be traveling to work in Dubai next month, and it's business class, 5-star hotel, everything fully paid. There are times I use style to sort of, because if you do it frequently, trust me, because they reached out to me and they said, this is what, based on our analysis, and I had to fight back and say, no, you can't base it just on X, Y, and Z. It's been paid for, and this is actually my real income. So
do you know that is actually something that the UK government have been doing a lot
They watch people's accounts.
Yes. So what they're doing is they will check that your lifestyle on social media, like they apparently have like a department, and what they do is they watch what you post on social media, and then they basically compare it to the tax that you're paying or that you're declaring or something. And I think that is just so scary, because I could literally do like a Chanel or whatever unboxing, and it could all be fake.
Thank you.
So you know what? Maybe in a way, is it a good thing?
I mean, it would be a good thing.
All these people that are living fake lifestyles, they now have to think twice.
No, I'm just saying, well, that's their business. But I'm more concerned about where this revenue is going.
Yes. That's where
I want
that
to see.
That is the most important
That is
question.
where
And
we should be at.
sorry to something about what Tosin said. I think the storytelling, because and I'm sure this is something that the average Nigerian thinks about. Okay, you're asking us to pay more tax, but where is this going? What is going to happen? I would really like if, as a part of their storytelling, they are saying that this is what we intend to do in the next 2 years, in the next 5 years, in the next whatever. This is where your tax is going, because some of our politicians are moving mad.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what they're trying to do, but they should also remember. So while they are saying that the day of reckoning is 2026, your day of reckoning is 2027.
Yes.
If you don't show workings, people will show workings.
Absolutely.
Yes. It would be really nice to know. I'm sure they have targets. I'm sure they have monetary targets. It would be really nice to have an idea of what those figures are. And it would be really nice to understand what their plan is for that money. Because that's a lot of money.
It is.
That's a lot of money. So if I'm just about making the, minimum, wage, and you're taking, and I'm just managing it, because everybody knows that in the last, few years, things have become ridiculously expensive in this country. So if I'm just about managing, what I'm making, and you're now saying, actually, I'm going to dip my hand and I'm going to take this, I need to know what you're spending. It's my money,
yeah,
right?
I shouldn't be dodging. I shouldn't be dodging potholes when I'm driving.
Absolutely,
it shouldn't be like a video game.
I shouldn't freaking have to save up for a car and a boat because of Lagos
You
rain.
are saying car and boats. I was sitting at an event the other day, and you know how you look at somebody. I'm not trying to be in anybody's pockets, but you look at them and you think, well, they have money. Do you understand? This person has had money from when they were small, my family money, and I was sitting, and she's here talking about how she had to change. She was complaining about how she had to change the toilet roll she uses to a cheaper one. And my mind, I'm thinking, wow, if you're changing toilet roll, you see?
Yes, hey. So okay, that's that old money thing, right? I have a theory. You have old money. You have money. Do you want to spend your money buying bread? Do you want you want to spend your money on different things?
No, I'm just saying, it's a sign of the times.
Yeah.
If the old money girl that you're looking at, she has money.
Everybody has had to adjust in some way or some form, so everybody's had to, because it's ridiculous. My kids, when it comes to, because they like nice fruit and everything, if you don't finish it today, it's in the fridge.
Oh yeah.
You finish it tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
All these different things are ridiculously expensive now. Anyways, okay, so what are the, we've asked you a few questions, but what are the key things you feel we need to think about and we need to, remember about? Let's stop calling it tax doom, basically.
Yeah.
Let's just call it tax reform.
Tax reform.
Yes, I think that's
tax reform is better.
less scary.
Let's do our part in reducing the fear.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's. What are 2 or 3 key things that you want people to think about, or the key takeaways for tax reform 2026?
Okay, so they have something called a rent relief. So that means that you get a deductible tax for 500,000 naira or 20% of your annual rent. So you can speak to your HR so that when they are compiling what they're going to send as taxes, they can add your rent portion of it to it. That's one. Number 2. They want you to know that if you're making 100 million naira or less, you're exempted from taxes. Number 3, they are making richer people to pay more taxes, right? So if you fall in that category, you should even be more vocal. You should not take a back seat. You're paying more than the average person. So you should be more vocal. You should play a role in asking and demanding where your money should be going to, because you are paying more. Your voice should be heard.
Makes sense.
But my issue... my issue is this, right? Because in the past, when it comes to our government, there are different stories about crazy spending, spending on, their personal, should I say, wants and needs or whatever. How do we hold them accountable? Because just recently, I think it was a politician, a very sort of higher politician, I'm trying to remember her name, in the UK, she lost her job because she misappropriated taxpayers' money. So she basically spent taxpayers' money on something personal. And literally in the UK, if you use taxpayers' money to buy lunch, if they find out, it's such a big
It's a
thing.
big
So
thing.
how do we keep them accountable? How do we make sure that this money that you're basically, collecting from us, this money that, it's removing from what I was spending on before, how do we make sure that it's going to the right place?
So we're already sort of doing it now, sharing awareness, talking about it. People should know the numbers by heart. We want to be able to be aware. This is what it costs. This is the portion that the government is using to pay staff. They're using it to prepay their debts and things like that. Like we say it so much that remember during the previous election, like I was in awe as to the numbers people were churning out. So if we're not aware, they get away with it. So we're talking about the numbers. We know how much the GDP is. We know what they're using to repay debt. We're holding them that this is the opportunity cost. If you guys were to build or do X, Y, and Z, this is money that taxpayers' money. So because at the end of the day, it's still like a system based. There's only so much we can do. But the ones within our power literally is awareness, education, and just continue to talk about it.
Yeah, and we, like you said, awareness. We also need to pay attention down to even the local government level. There's an I can't remember the account now. There's an account I follow on social media that tracks government projects.
Budgets.
Yeah, the budget, what they've budgeted, what they've paid for, and what they, like, for example, if they budget XYZ billion for classrooms in Abia, for example, they will go there, take pictures and be like, is this what you guys budgeted XYZ million, but you are giving people wheelbarrows? So did you use billions to buy wheelbarrows? Do you understand? And they question it. This project started January 2023. How come in January 2025, it is still not complete?
Absolutely.
Pictures, receipts, people, if we actually pay attention, you'll be able to catch them and really hold them accountable. I heard of a state that sent the wives of, whether it was their lawmakers or something, to training in Turkey. There was a picture of them.
How to support their husbands to govern better.
They couldn't use Zoom for this training.
Wait.
They flew to Turkey.
That's not true.
No, we're not
It's
joking.
true. Now the pictures are on social media. Do you know how everybody is traveling and they wear
flew to
cardigan?
Turkey for a course.
Yes, too.
How to support.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Wives of the what? Yes, they flew to Turkey. Let's find out. So things like that. You know what? Let's find out who funded it. Where's the money from? How did they assign money for this project? Could they not have joined this training via Zoom? Things like that. So I just implore all Nigerians to pay attention.
At the very least, that's like a few presentation slides.
See.
That's it. PowerPoint slide. That's it.
See. Anyways, I have a lot of questions.
Yeah,
Okay,
I have one. The process for me, things like this, I'm just like, okay, wait, break it down again. Wait, one more time. So how do you make sure that everyone living in this country that this applies to? How do we? I shouldn't say how do you, because obviously it's not your job, but how can the government make sure that everybody fully understands? Because if you're thinking about domestic workers, if you're thinking about, drivers, nannies, cooks, chefs and everything, how do we make sure that they actually understand what's going on? And how do we make sure that they do the right thing?
So 2 ways. Number one, they have to make it mainstream. How do people assimilate information? Let me just wave off a little bit and come here. When we started Money Africa, I just said, how can we just like it's Instablog or like a gossip forum? Like you have to make it very easy. Use skits, use every form in order to reach them. And trust me, when they want to go for election, they deploy all these means. So there's no excuse. They know how to use it.
When they want to.
Yes, when they want to, they know how to use it. Like you will see them deploy every form of strategy.
In Pidgin, everything.
Exactly. So the same energy should be used.
Yes, exactly. But I don't want to make this a totally a whole taxation episode. For someone who does not understand, what is the simplest way to explain saving versus investing? Let's move away from taxing for a quick second. What is the simplest way to explain saving versus investing to someone who has never done either? I have follow-up questions.
That's a good one. So the best way we can do this is this, right? We can ask them that, let's say you take a little amount of money and you keep it somewhere. And that's basically how savings work. The returns are usually very little. I mean, say for some fintechs that are giving really great returns, but your traditional commercial banks, right? Whereas investing is like a poultry farm. You have one male animal, one female animal, and then just give them 3 years, they would have reproduced themselves. Like that's just the best way to do it. You can't keep two gender of the same animal in the same place, that it will not multiply. So that's just, so think of this. Am I putting a little pot underneath my bed? Or even let's just put it this way, fantastic. I keep just one animal of one gender, I put them in one place and I'm feeding them. There is no multiplication that is going to happen. That's savings. In another place, I put two animals, different gender, put them there, keep feeding them. What's going to happen after 3 years? They would multiply, they will reproduce. And that's like the perfect example of savings versus investing.
Is there a right time to start investing?
The best time is actually now. And people underestimate it a lot.
Okay.
So I've shared the story multiple times of how I studied in South Africa and I earned a good salary, but I was living from hand to mouth. When I came back to Nigeria, I had to move back to my parents' house and start all over again. And people always think there's a better time. They're waiting to become a chartered accountant. They're waiting to become manager. They're waiting to become director. They're waiting to get married. I had lots of friends then I'd given them, that was like 10 years ago before Ikate was a hot place. Like, let's put money together and buy this apartment. And they were like, oh no, I'm waiting to get married, right? So people are always waiting for a future event and they will not do it. So the best time really is now. And it's never too late, really. So let me give you an example, right? A person finished NYSC in their 20s. Let's say there's 25. You know how Nigeria is and people sometimes finish late. And they started NYSC and they were just saving 20,000 naira or investing 20,000 naira every month at 10% per annum. When they hit retirement, that amount is now 218 million. Just from doing 20K on a monthly basis. If that same person started 10 years after, like they started in their mid-30s, they'll be walking away with 76 million. So they would have lost 135 million because they started 10 years later.
Yeah.
Time is a critical component, but stay with me. People now say, oh my gosh, Tosin, I'm already in my 30s or I'm hitting 40, I'm in my 40s. I'm like, guess what? You just have to double your hustle. So the person that was doing 20K when they were in their 20s, if you do 50K in your 30s, you will catch up with that person.
I know somebody's watching this now or listening to this and screaming, in this economy where am I supposed to look? Pamo that was buying 700 naira is now 3,000 naira. How the heck, especially in this really, really bad economy, how are people supposed to save
or invest? That's a good question. So we always say that there are two categories of people. We have the people that do not have any form of disposable income. I'm talking about Mama Tosin that is selling corn and ube at the streets. That's the least of our problem. She wants to put a roof over her head and she wants to eat. But there's another category of people that if you look inward truly, there's things you could substitute. How frequently are you buying those Instagram dresses? Can you switch out some groceries? Can you be more efficient, right, with your resources, right? Can you plan your eating? Can you stop throwing things in the bin? Can you cook in bulk? Can you put it in the freezer?
Creamy past her.
Exactly. There's food at home. There's rice at home.
No more jellies.
No more salmon.
Tolu.
No more shiro.
Yeah,
change your salmon to geisha.
Yeah. People grossly underestimate.
Or sardine.
Okay.
People grossly underestimate how privileged they are.
Yeah.
And it's always easy to say, oh, don't get me wrong. See, I also know that in the last 3 to 5 years, this government, the inflation and things like that has really something, right?
Yes.
However, notwithstanding, if you know deep in your heart, and you have access to your bank account, I do not. You can see your bank account and you know it's that there are gaps and there are things that you can do. Then you really should do something.
I really feel sorry for people in their 20s who didn't get to at least enjoy because they were told, oh, when you grow up, when you're done with school, you're going to, you can't wait to grow up and do girls' trips. You can't wait to grow up and, buy this and buy that. And now they've grown up and they're like, and people lie to us.
So this is scam.
Yeah, like I miss the days when you could just put together 200K and buy an economy ticket to London. Yeah. You could go. I know people who used to go to Dubai for the weekend and come back. And it's not that they had like one massive oil job. You just had a decent job. I remember there were years that I would travel like 8 times, off of, I'm just like, I'm just going. Now,
I think the one thing, like in the last few years, the one thing that has really, really struck me is just, like you said, the price of, flights. Because a good few years ago, this was maybe a year or two after I moved back, you could actually I could get my salary at the end of the month and I could be like, okay, fine. And bear in mind, this was like, my first job back in Nigeria and everything. So it wasn't like I was, making millions and millions. It was decent. But at the end of the month, I could buy like an economy ticket.
Yeah.
the way things are now, the way salaries are, you literally would have to wait a few months, and this is for an economy ticket.
You will probably wait a whole year, and that's if you don't do like a pay small or something. It's crazy.
It is actually scary.
My first apartment, all I did was go on Amazon, picked my sheets, my bathroom rug, my everything that I needed, down to shower curtain from Amazon, and they delivered to the office. So basically, I understand. Everybody says, okay, you should save. Everybody says you should invest. What about people who are in debt? Because a lot of people, number one, are not earning well. They are still, living from hand to mouth, like they say. Before your next paycheck comes, they've spent the money. They are in debt. They are being chased around by different, what's it called? Loan apps. Then
I've had like a few calls.
Exactly. Where does savings and investing come into play? That's first question, and I don't want to forget, so please remind. And the second question is, do you advise people to invest in Naira or in another currency?
Okay, great. So with regards to the people that are in debt, right, we like to preach this strategy. Number one, you have to consolidate everything. So get a list of all the debts. Prioritize it based on the interest expense. So for people that loan apps are chasing, that is going to be their most expensive debt because these are uncollateral loans. So these guys are going to charge really high. Some of them pay as high as 10% per month. You have no business doing any form of savings. Prioritize that because 10% per month is equivalent to about 120% per annum as interest. So leave every other thing alone and focus on that debt.
I'm clearing that debt.
That's number one. Number two, for those that are from family and friends, pick up the phone and speak to them. Many people just ghost you. They change churches, they stop picking up calls and things like that. Call. You might need them in the future. Pick up that phone, call, and then you can even ask for them to replan it. Sometimes people even write it off. Then number three, for those that are owning commercial banks as well, again, pick up the phone and negotiate. They could give you some moratorium and spread it out. But your main priority are those loan apps because the regulation is not that tight. They are going to go to any means to come after your peace of mind. When you don't have peace of mind, you won't be able to save. You can't even work. You can't do anything. So that should be your big priority and get them out of the list. So once we sorted that out, we want to start now on a clean slate and we want to go a long-term game. But I also want to know what took you there. Some people could have honestly gone there. They need to pay school fees. They needed to pay rent. But some people are taking those loans to go and do betting. Every other place on Lagos now, bet this, bet that, bet. It's everywhere. It's like a new
massive addiction.
It's an addiction, right? So am I taking those loans to go and be doing betting, or what am I using that fund? I'm using it to even fund illicit lifestyle. Sometimes people even, go and get, they have extramarital affairs with debt. And trust me, I'm not making this up. We've gotten stories like this. So you have to ask yourself.
I'm sorry, but if you're doing that, whatever happens to you, happens to you. Sorry. Honestly.
So you have to ask, what led me here? And then want to deal with it. It's like a tooth that is hurting. You don't want to just patch it. You have to go in and dig it out. What is the reason? And then we want to fix that. So once that is sorted, then we now want to start on a clean slate. Now, this conversation that we have all the time about savings and investing, one of the biggest problems that I've seen over time is it's like building a house. People will start. They've decked, they've done foundation, they are raising up the blocks, and then guess what? They demolish and they start again. So 30 December comes, all the effort since January.
So
you're back to ground zero. You're back to ground zero. And it happens every time. Oh, I started investing, something happened. I started investing, my brother got this, and you're always demolishing it. So we have to go back to the drawing table. What makes people start from ground zero again? The number one big thing, health issues.
Okay.
So I
thought you say black tax. Okay.
Get health insurance because once they fall sick, wipes it all out. They're back to ground zero. So please get a health insurance. I know many people keep saying, oh, this Nigerian companies do not pay. I am telling you, I don't want to call names. They've paid 2 digits in millions. They truly pay. But the thing is this, don't go and get 5,000 naira insurance per month. You're playing. 5,000 insurance per year. It's not going to work. Close your eyes and pay that good money and get a good health insurance. And then it helps you. Then number 2 is black tax. Black tax is very common. Another strategy with black tax is this. Identify somebody else in your family that you can train. And when I'm talking training, I don't necessarily mean you, how can you put them on? Tell them about opportunities. Do things like that so that you're spreading out the black tax. So that the burden is not just on you. You're not the only one the family is looking onto. It might be a 2-year game, it might be a 3-year game, but you have to be intentional. Look for other people and get them on that path. Let me give you a random example. Our help at home, we helped her sister get a job at another family. So their household income for that place is already 200K. So my help has less burden on her. Her sister is also working.
Yeah.
So things like putting them up for opportunities, you have to find somebody else that you want to share that burden with. Also, you don't have to tell your family, you don't have to disclose everything to them. Don't do it. Many a time, it's not out of wickedness. They are planning your money for you. We have a client that her father went to church and did what's that thing? Vow.
Pledge.
He did a pledge on behalf of his daughter.
Ah.
Yes, because they know how much you earn. So I'm not saying you should lie, but I'm also saying do not fully disclose. Let them guess, let them
Disclose your
think, but you
amounts,
must
yeah.
never give them a full picture of what you earn. Right. So
Things like that.
that.
How about I talked about investing or saving in another currency.
Fantastic. Earlier in the show, I spoke about that person that maybe they were in their 20s and they were doing 20,000 naira every month and they were earning 10% per annum. When we were doing that thing, when we started that conversation, it was in 2018 when the naira to the dollar was 360. And then if they were to walk away with 216 million naira at retirement, it was going to be circa $650,000. So when we're sharing it, do you know that by just saving 20,000 naira every month in your 20s, you can walk away with 211 million. It's about $600,000.
Then,
as of today now, that same amount is just $150,000. So it has gone
down.
It's like 25% of what we were sharing as of just 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So where am I going? I am Nigerian. I'm also pushing for, I want the economy to be great as well. However, you need to have a portion of your income in FX.
Okay.
So a portion of it, how can you go about that? There's something called a dollar mutual fund. They also have some dollar FX savings. You have to have some portion of your money in FX. So go to your asset management companies, speak to them. I want a portion of my income in FX and all of that. We also have ladder savings. You can save in dollars and earn 8%. So just you have to have a portion of it. And also for people that have children, you're thinking for the next 18 years, for the next 14 years, the best asset you want to put it in has to be dollar denominated because I don't know what the naira to the dollar will look like in the next 18 years.
Yeah.
Is it going to be 5,000 naira to the dollar? Is it going to be 10,000 naira to the dollar? So you're thinking of your kids as well, like especially for those that are thinking of education fund, a portion of it has to be in foreign currency.
Thank you for mentioning kids. So for
Yes.
those of you that are already struggling right now, maybe you have one child or two children and you're still dreaming of more children, better use your head and think about how much it will cost.
But Tosin, you have. Let's talk about Money Africa. You do have something for children, right?
Yes,
you have a product for children because I remember we spoke about this, and I'm really trying to get my boys to understand the importance of saving and to basically know that you want this, it costs a certain amount. How do you get that money? So can you just give us a little bit of information about what you have for kids and the different products you have in general?
So it was during COVID, all the kids were at home and parents were looking for how to engage their children. And parents have always told us, I wish I learnt about money as a child. And there's even research to back it. According to a Cambridge study, by the age of 7, your child's mindset about money has been formed. So if you did not grow up around money, there's a bigger onus on you to actually ensure that the kids are having that conversations very, very early. So we built an app called Money Africa Kids. We educate them about money. There are games, there are quizzes, there are short videos. We just really want to change their mindset. I also want to say this, with the nature of my work, and I've been doing this now for years, and the way people evaluate risk, those that have seen it when they were younger or people that have been comfortable around it is totally different. And so you want to wire their head in that way. It's very intentional. You have to wire it in a certain way. So you have to ensure that you're wiring it right, you're educating them, and you're talking to them very early about money. Yeah.
I think one of the one of my proudest moments, should I say, this year was when my son, I can't remember what he wanted, but he now just came to me and he said, I want to get a job. And I was just like, why? And I think it was something ridiculous, like a toy or whatever. But I just felt very, very proud because I felt that he understood that, I want this and
I have to work for
I have to work for it. So I love that you have a product for kids. Which other products do you have? So for people that are, like me, that have issues with financial literacy, but really, really, really want to learn more, what can you do? If I come to Money Africa and I say, look, I'm making this much, let me give you an example. I'm making 300K a month and I want to figure out my savings and I also want to see how I can invest. What would you suggest?
Okay, so first and first, we want to take out all your expenses Let's know what is going for.
I live with my parents.
You live. Oh, fantastic, great. So you live with your parents. So that means that I would say about 50% of it could be saved. So you'll be using the other 50% for, maintenance, hair, beauty, or whatever, and then 1 to 50%. Also, for people watching, if you're living with your parents, it's a big, big, big blessing, and I want you to go aggressive. This is the time to train yourself, build the muscle, start telling yourself that you're already paying rent. Mm-hmm. It's a mind game. Mm-hmm. So you start being aggressive. You have time now, and it's a luxury many people do not have. So I would want to say, don't go for anything less than 50%. So that 150K, we're going to split into 3. 50% will go into safety. So we'll go for like a dollar fund or something relatively safe, getting you like 8% per annum. Another 50% we're going into the stock market, right? So, and preferably US stocks. Long term, they always pay off. For instance, a person that invested the equivalent of $100 in Netflix 10 years ago, it's now worth 17 million naira now. I know people hate hearing that.
No, I just, because we're talking about her post.
Yes.
Tosin does these posts where she's like, oh, if you had invested this much in this in January, you'll be getting this much now.
So we're in 2025 now.
Yes.
So if somebody had put in $100 in 2015, that's $100 worth of stock is now worth
17 million. And you know why I keep saying this? Because many people think they have to be entrepreneurs, and you don't have to. You have to get a good job, and you have to religiously invest every month, and it adds up.
I know somebody who said I think she has 2 jobs. One job is for, living. Yeah, and one job is the income from the other job is for investing. It goes straight into investing and stuff, which makes sense. So, I mean, I know we all want to live the soft life aesthetic. This is the time you want to just be. But look, I think you should download a quick workout video on your laptop, on your phone, and work out at home, jump up and down at home. That will pay 30,000 naira per workout session or per month or wherever it is to go to the gym.
30,000 naira?
No. So 46,000 naira for the gym. Some people go to Pilates. Pilates is a new thing. Lots of girlies love to do that, but it's expensive.
You can buy like a machine at home.
You see what we're talking about?
Yeah, I think one of the things that one of my key takeaways from like what you said is that this takes a lot of discipline.
Yes.
It takes a lot of discipline.
It does.
And I think, again, back to what you said, I think the earlier you start that, the better. One of the things that I think has really helped me is the fact that I started working very young. I think so technically, the minimum working age in the UK is like 16, but I lied. I was about 15. And I started working. I was going to college. And I was working weekends at, my first job was at an Italian restaurant. And I was in the kitchen, I was washing dishes, but I was earning like, 40, 50 pounds a week. But the fact that it was my money, it just made me feel like amazing. So that's something that I also plan to instill in my kids. They are going to be working early.
Ooh, yes.
And another thing, what really surprises me is that I don't know if it's like a culture thing, but one of the things that surprised me when I moved back is that a lot of university students, they don't have part-time jobs. They don't have part-time jobs.
I strongly feel it could be availability of it as well. Because when I worked in South Africa as well, I had weekend jobs. I always worked. So it could be the availability of it.
But okay, think about it, right? Your fast foods, places, your eateries, even like your, retail shops. It actually makes sense to have your weekend staff. Like your weekend staff that is really, their job is just to come in on weekends and everything, and you work it out. I think that for a business, doesn't that make financial sense? I just was confused because I just didn't understand why a lot of Nigerian businesses weren't taking advantage of, like student employment.
I think also a lot of people don't have the energy or the time to also train them, the patience to train them and stuff. Also, I feel like, look, if it's your first job, you are not going to go from school and NYSC to 500K a month. Or do you understand? But a lot of people want that. And they would not take,
anything else.
It's not, I'm not going to take...
It is so important. That is so important because it teaches you how to be employable.
I know, but a lot of young people... Because somebody approached me for a job and wanted to start earning 6 figures, and it's your first gig, and they were like, I could start, and I'm like, you don't have any experience. And I've also
And
started
that
seeing
is-
threads of social media managers on Twitter. Oh, don't ask me to manage 6 platforms for 200K. Da, 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 da. Okay, that's for you. Maybe somebody else who is starting out can start from there, and then you have the experience, even if you do it for 6 months. But some of them want to go straight from, I don't know if it's social media that is deceiving them.
Yeah,
They want to
yeah,
go
probably.
straight from NYSC to
their
Blown.
crazy job. One of the things that I'm very proud of is the fact that by the time I graduated from university, I had years of experience. I'd worked. I did the job at the Italian restaurant. I interned at a magazine. I had like a weekend job at Harvey Nichols, and I did all of this. So by the time I've graduated, I was like, see, you can't say I don't have any work experience.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. And I think that's also a very good way to start this whole, start the saving process, to start like the investing process. So you don't graduate and you're there. Because honestly, when I was, before I left, Beat FM, if you had a first class degree, as in you had you went to university or, grades are excellent and everything. If you had a first class, but you didn't have any experience, I'm thinking, what does that mean for me? What does that mean for me as your line manager?
Yeah.
That means I'm going to have to train you how to be employable, how to do all these different things.
Exactly.
And if you come with a 2-1 or a 2-2, I mean, if that's what's important, but you have, okay, I did this. I was a community radio manager. I did this while I was studying. I did this. All of those I think are very, very important.
Very.
So
Yeah.
all right, they're telling us we need to wrap up soon.
Yeah.
But just 1 or 2 tips, because I feel like I could eat your brain.
Tools and eating people's brains.
No,
like cannibal.
that's
Like
like
cannibal. Okay.
I'm not a cannibal. It's like it's not literally, but anyways. So just 2 tips, 2 things that you want people to remember about saving and investment.
Number 1, your mind is your biggest asset. So I want you to aggressively read and read. There's a particular book I love so much. It's called The Psychology of Money by Morgan House. So please, you have to pick up that book. You can read it within 3 days. It's fantastic. That's number 1. Number 2, I want you to start with what you have. So go back to the last 3 months and scrutinize your bank statement. Where is your money going to? Also, what is your ethos? What is your dream? What do you aspire for yourself? And how are we going to start taking those steps now to do it? If you look at everything that you've done now, the last 10 years, you sort of sowed that seed, right? So what seed are you sowing today that you want to give birth in 10 years? And I love thinking of decades. I don't care so much for 1 year or 6 months. I'm always thinking 10 years.
Yeah.
So what do you want the next 10 years to look like, and what can we do today? So please start investing now, and it's not too late.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This conversation could go on for another hour or 2, but thank you for stopping by. Make sure you check out Money Africa. What's your website?
www.themoneyafrica.com and www.getladder.com.
Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm grateful.
All right, so last week we started a special campaign where we were giving our lovely viewers some information about HPV and cervical cancer. So we are continuing with that. Once again, we've partnered with Bella Ninja to make sure that we are giving out as much information as possible about HPV, which is the human papillomavirus, and how it is linked to cervical cancer. Last week, we gave you some very, very important myths and facts. And for today's episode, we have got a special guest. We know him as the noisy Nigerian pediatrician, Dr. Renner.
Yes.
Here.
Welcome.
Hi, Tools. Hi, Gbemi.
Hello.
I'm on off air, Daddy.
You've made it.
I made
hilarious.
it.
Blow.
In short,
That's so hilarious. Welcome.
Thank you.
So you're here to talk about HPV and cervical cancer, but if you can give us a brief intro to tell us about your story a little bit, and then we can get into HPV and cervical cancer.
Okay, thank you, Gbemi. Thank you, Tools, for having me here. So essentially, I'm a pediatrician, means I treat children. And what I do online is that I give health education, health education to parents, because there's a lot of pressure,
Yes,
from,
absolutely.
and there are a lot of sources of information that sometimes aren't entirely accurate, including our dads, our mothers, our mother-in-laws. And so I finally realized that you just need to give the accurate information to them. And social media is one of the best tools to use to get information as widely distributed as possible. And so that's how I started. And here we are, 8 years down the line of content creation on off air.
We appreciate you.
Thank
So
you.
tell us, tell us about HPV, cervical cancer, and how they're linked.
Okay, so the HPV is the human papillomavirus. Now, this is a very sneaky virus that actually causes a variety of illnesses. You have various types of HPV. You have the high-risk types, and you've got the low-risk types. Now, the low-risk types cause things like warts, so those really ugly-looking warts. Now, the high-risk type actually cause various types of cancers, including oral cancers, throat cancers, penile cancers. But the one that is of the major concern that causes the most deaths globally is actually cervical cancer. So the high-risk human papillomaviruses cause cervical cancer.
Okay. And is there a vaccine for this? Now, we've talked about this over. There is a vaccine for this. So please tell us what role the vaccine plays in all of this.
Okay, so when it comes to preventing cervical cancer, what happens is that the vaccine has been created to prevent people from getting infected with the high-risk types of the human papillomavirus. And so meaning that if a person were to encounter those high-risk types and they have been vaccinated, even if it gets into their system, their immune system has the ability to clear it out, to handle it, simply because they've been protected by vaccination. Same principle that works with most other vaccine preventable diseases, like the flu jab, polio, pertussis, diphtheria, those things.
Okay, so can we go back a bit? How does HPV actually connect to cervical cancer?
Okay, so what HPV does is that it's actually a really sneaky virus. It gets into the cervix, which essentially is the neck of the womb, and then it causes certain changes, abnormalities in the cells of the cervix, because the cervix is actually a tissue that actually has a high cell turnover, meaning that in a short period of time, the cells multiply and change regularly to keep the cervix healthy and, well vascularized, meaning that the blood supply will be healthy. So now, when the virus gets into such a highly vascularized and a highly multiplying group of cells like the cervix, it takes over the architecture of the cells and begins to make the cells multiply in a very unusual way, such that the cells now become malignant. They change and they begin to grow out of step with what they should do.
But they're still multiplying very quickly.
They're still multiplying very quickly. And so what cells do actually is that they have a lifespan such that naturally they are programmed to die after a certain point in time. But what the HPV does is that it gives the cells the infinity stones, such that they end up not being able to program themselves to actually die, and they begin to multiply out of step with what the blood supply can be and spread to other parts of the body. So the HPV is really, really sneaky and quite disturbing in how it acts.
Right. So at what age should parents be vaccinating their daughters, and what makes this age ideal?
Okay, so for a long time in countries like the US and the UK, they've been vaccinating their children actually, both boys and girls, between the ages of 9 and 14 years. And that age is ideal because at that time the immune system is really still quite naive and ready to accept and create an immune response to the vaccine that is being administered. The older one gets, the less of a response the immune system is going to have to create the protective antibodies against the human papillomavirus. As a matter of fact, by the time a person is 26, if they want to get the human papillomavirus vaccine, they've got to see a physician first to be assessed and evaluated to see if they're still eligible.
So one vaccine is good for life? Or do you have to keep taking them?
So it really does depend on the one that you are taking. So ideally, what happens is that there's the Gardasil 4. So that's essentially, it's a human papillomavirus vaccine that protects against 4 of the really high-risk types of human papillomavirus.
Okay.
Now, you're supposed to get 3 doses of that. But what we've realized actually is that 1 dose actually offers 90 to 98% protection. So in situations where you can't absolutely get the 3 doses, 1 dose is a perfectly fine option.
Okay. So you said between ages 9 to 14 that's the ideal time to get vaccinated. For people like us in our early 20s, is it still possible to get vaccinated?
If you're in your early 20s, yes.
So would the vaccine still be effective?
Yes, it will still be effective.
Okay.
It will still be effective.
But you'd need to see your to have like a full appointment with your doctor.
Appointment with your doctor,
Okay,
yes.
times 2 of that.
Times 2 of that,
For our elders.
We'll refer you to the Lord. So, but yeah, times two of that, again, risk.
Meaning people in their 40s.
Yes, in their 40s.
Yeah.
Risk
30s,
does,
40s,
yes,
yeah.
one does have to assess the risk because the likelihood of a person of that age group having been already exposed
It's very
to
high.
the human papillomavirus is very high. So, what's now the point of giving
Wow.
you? If you've already been out there on the streets.
I should laugh.
Oh my God.
But
Oh, no, but it's funny.
either ways, if you are watching and you're in your 20s and your 30s and your 40s and you haven't had the vaccine, you can still find out about it.
Yes,
You probably
yes,
need to
yes.
be assessed and everything.
Assessed.
And then you can get it, I imagine.
Yeah, exactly.
But I believe that from 9 to 14, isn't it free?
Yes, exactly.
And then if outside of those ages, you can still get it, but you probably
have
would
to
need
pay.
to pay. But
So-
I
so
don't think it's super expensive,
which
is
is
it?
which is the great thing. So in 2023, the federal government actually rolled out the vaccine, as part of a campaign to make sure that girls from 9 to 14 years were fully vaccinated against the human papillomavirus, and it has now been added into the routine vaccination schedule, such that when girls, right now in Nigeria, only girls are getting it, and it's when they turn 9. So right now it's at the age of 9. So if they miss that window of the 9-year-old window, then they don't get it if it's the routine vaccination. But at the time it was being rolled out, it was 9 to 14 years.
Okay.
Now
And-
okay, go ahead.
And boys don't get it, but you can still get it for
Yes,
your
boys.
boys if you
Yes.
if you want
Yes,
to, but then it'll
perfect.
probably be like a private
Arrangement.
arrangement. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry, Gwemi, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like lots of people would say, this doesn't run in my family, or what would you, you know how we can be, God forbid, God forbid, God forbid. What would you say to those people and how would you advise them?
Okay, so the reality is that the idea that a thing runs in a family or not is really based on genetics, and human papillomavirus is not a genetically determined disease. Essentially, it has nothing to do with genetics. It has more to do with if you are exposed to the human papillomavirus. So the idea that it doesn't run in the family doesn't really play any role in this situation. So I'd say please still protect your girl children and get the vaccine, given that it's free in absolutely all government centers nationwide. Every primary healthcare center right now has the human papillomavirus vaccine, and it's free.
Okay. Speaking of, we've covered, the HPV, but we spoke about screening last time, and we spoke about screening based on our individual experiences. But as a doctor, can you take us through screening and testing, how important it is, and what we need to know about preventing cervical cancer?
Okay, so essentially screening for any kind of disease makes sure that you catch as many people as possible in the pre-disease stages as you can, so that the disease doesn't either happen or it doesn't progress, to incurable or untreatable stages. And so when it comes to cervical cancer, the screening tool is a pap smear.
Okay.
And essentially a pap smear is a situation in which a sample is taken from the cervix. And
Use a speculum.
it's
Inside joke, sorry.
very so I see those Instagram posts where the people are like, okay, so nobody gynaes at your gynae appointment, and they get this tongues.
Oh, the one with the paper bag.
The
and they're
paper
like,
bag and the tongues, and I'm like, we don't do this. Gynaes don't do this. So, but yeah, so they do put a speculum and then they collect a smear, and that's exactly what it is, and they smear it on a slide and look at it under the
and
microscope.
it's about 5 minutes.
It's about 5 minutes, and
Yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't take very long.
Yeah.
And they check for any unusual looking cells, because there are certain telltale signs that appear in those cells if they're beginning to show changes of cervical cancer. And if that happens, then they actually call the person back for a closer examination called a colposcopy, in which they look more closely to see if there are any actual large-scale changes in the cervix. And this should actually happen for women. The recommendation that I saw was actually it's happening for women between the ages of 26 and 64 every 5 years, but it might be more frequent if they
Okay.
think.
I do mine once a year.
What?
Oh, wow, that's
yeah.
wow.
I do my
Wow,
when I
really?
do my
That's-
health thing.
Yeah.
Wow,
What
interesting.
is the male equivalent of a pap smear? Like how do men get screen themselves or get checked?
So, as far as HPV is concerned, unfortunately, there really isn't a male equivalent of the pap smear, because the number one, screening as a tool generally says that you should be screening for conditions that are one, extremely common, or two, extremely dangerous, depending on how much public health emphasis is laid on the condition. But for the HPV, the conditions that it causes in men, including things like penile cancer, throat cancer, and maybe some rectal cancers, they're not that
So will it be like
common.
a standard STD testing, for example? Like
Okay,
some
so
people go to?
so the standard STD testing essentially would be testing for HPV, and unfortunately not for cancer.
Okay.
So the pap smear would be checking you to screen for cancer, not necessarily even though as part of the pap smear, actually they also do test for the presence of HPV. But for men, it's very difficult to get, because men, the cervix actually is quite moist, and it actually is able to keep things for a long time. But for men, it's the pretty dry thing, and there's no swab they can collect.
Is there a strong link? So we've established that there's a strong link between the human papillomavirus and cervical cancer. Is there a strong link between HPV and penile cancer?
So actually the strongest risk factor for penile cancer actually is the HPV.
Because I feel that a lot of guys might not know that.
Yes,
I
actually.
feel like a lot of guys actually don't.
It is.
A lot of guys probably don't even know that penile cancer is a thing.
It is.
See.
Yes,
Did you know? Did you know?
Yeah, penile cancer is a thing. So,
No, I mean, we're here to learn, so it's not even about
yes.
jokes or whatever. Now,
Very true.
you've mentioned that if parents want to get their daughters the vaccine, they can go to the what did you call it? Primary health centers.
Yes.
I'm sure there are also some private clinics or hospitals that administer this vaccine. One thing I was going to say, and you already mentioned it, that the vaccine is part of the routine schedule in Nigeria and is available at these primary healthcare centers. I want you to send a special message to the fathers, not just because every time there's things like this, prevention, health, this and that, the conversation is always directed somehow to the moms. So talk to the fathers.
Fathers, give yourself brain. Okay, so actually, on a more serious note, so fathers, so here's what it is. I think for good or for better or worse, and I'm sure you guys will think it's for worse, we live in a patriarchal society and fathers really do determine a lot of things that happen in the family. You cannot just grab a man's child and walk them off to go and get any kind of health intervention without their permission. So I think fathers should be brought into this conversation by letting them know that this is an investment in the future of their children. Of course, while the girls are getting it, the boys too can get it at the private facilities at a certain fee. But the fathers need to realize that if they want daughters that are as healthy as they can possibly be, then they should be getting the human papillomavirus vaccine to prevent cervical cancer later in life.
Okay. And I just want you to reiterate how important it is for women especially to do regular screenings. I say this because it took me a while before I was, should I say, brave enough to, get my screening, my first screening, because you're like, it's weird.
It's invasive.
The person hasn't bought me dinner first. All of those different things. But I'm just joking. But it can feel, it's scary. It's actually scary. But after a while, I kind of just when I would read up and I realized that this is actually very important. And I think at a certain age, ignorance is bliss, and you don't really think about it. You think, later on when I'm much older. So can you just reiterate how important it is for women to get screened, the pap smear, cervical smear test, for them to do it regularly?
Okay, so let me just talk a little bit about numbers. So what the WHO reports is actually that women diagnosed with cervical cancer annually in Nigeria is about 12,000, and 8,000 of those actually die.
What?
Yes.
That's a lot of people.
So 12,000 and 8,000 of them actually die.
There are 12,000 cases, 8,000 of them die
annually.
That is, what is that? Somebody do the maths for me. That's over. That's about 60 something or 70%.
Yes, approaching 70%. So, and you see, again, it's very easy to just, talk about these numbers, but I think the general public is protected from a lot of horrors, in the sense that one of the reasons why I actually ended up not doing gynecology and decided to do pediatrics was cervical cancer, because each time I went to the gynecological ward, I did the gynecological posting, but I ended up not working in the cancer section of the of the department. But I had I worked on the ward, and when you see these women in person, then you know that cervical cancer is not something that you want even your worst enemy to have, because you are seeing the individual, the one out of the 8,000 that die, talking with her, trying to replace her IV. And she's not even really bothering about the needle that you're putting into her hand, because the pain from her cervix and the places that spread to is so overwhelming that your needle
He's
is
not doing anything.
problem.
Okay.
Okay, so would you say that I'm going back to what you said about the way the cervix is and the fact that there's a high turnover of cells.
Yeah, of cells.
So would you say that cervical cancer actually spreads quickly because of that?
Yes, so
Spreads quickly over all of the body.
yes, so that's really that's correct. So cervical cancer, while it doesn't really have a tendency to spread really quickly via the bloodstream to places like the lungs and the kidneys, but in terms of how it can invade locally, it goes everywhere. The entire pelvis is completely, disrupted, ruined by cervical cancer. So it spreads very quickly in comparison to quite a lot of other cancers. So it can go really from stage 1 to stage 4 very rapidly.
What's the survival rate?
So survival rates, unfortunately, I don't have the figures off the top of my head, but again, one can speak to environment dependent figures. Again, if it's detected early, survival rates are actually quite good, which is why there is so much investment and so much emphasis on screening to detect it early, because if it's detected early, survival rates are absolutely brilliant. But unfortunately, most people in Nigeria are detected quite late, and so survival.
There are no symptoms as well, right?
Yes,
there are no symptoms.
I
Which is
know
scary.
that's why he called it sneaky a couple of times. I know a lot of people who, when you are discussing screenings or just getting your regular yearly health tests and stuff, they're like, the moment you start searching, that's when you find something. Is it not better for you to? Is it not better for you to
just
search
know.
and then prevent and catch? If you have something, catch it immediately so that you can live. You can live for whether you have children or not.
You can treat it.
Yes,
you can,
so things like that.
See, honestly, I do these yearly health screenings now, and it is a lot. I'm not gonna lie, and I go with my husband. And what's very interesting is the last time we went, I went at 9 o'clock. We both went in at 9 o'clock, and by 12, when he was done, I was there till 3 o'clock.
Wow.
Yeah, because there's so many things,
Yes, there's so many different, like this and that. But then I'm just like, look, I'm doing this for a reason. I don't want to, God forbid,
Be surprised.
you end up in a situation and they were like, oh, if we had caught this
earlier, you could have.
So it's uncomfortable, but just do it.
Do
just
it.
do it.
Now,
the screenings are,
you are part of the Bella Naija hashtag Stop HPV for Her campaign. What's the big vision, and what's your message to everyone? And can you also share a hopeful? I know everything sounds scary. What's a hopeful message for the future?
So I'm really excited to be on this campaign that Bella Naija has initiated, which is the Stop HPV for Her campaign. And on this campaign, we want people to realize that, one, cervical cancer burden in Nigeria is huge, but that it is preventable through vaccination via the HPV vaccine. And that HPV is really common, and unfortunately there are no symptoms. As you said, HPV does not have any symptoms. So a person with HPV will never know that they have HPV. And so what we're saying is that just so that we can prevent our girl children, from developing cervical cancer later in life, it can be prevented by making sure that they are vaccinated. And so that's what the emphasis of the campaign is. Get your child vaccinated. Be aware. Share this with everyone that cares to listen. And we can actually save millions of lives that's because at the end of the day, the strange thing about cervical cancer is that really the people who actually succumb are not really that old. They are still like in their 60s. And if you think that the person can live to 80, 85, that's another 25 years that was robbed from a person that otherwise could have done so much. Some people create some of the best moments of their lives after they are in their 80s, So these are the things. So we're saying, let people know that this cervical cancer of a thing is preventable. Stop HPV for her. Hopeful message. The hopeful message is that, apart from the fact that I'm on off air, So the overall message actually is that cervical cancer is preventable. That it seems like a needless death. If a person dies from cervical cancer, so death is not inevitable with cervical cancer. HPV vaccination can actually stave off the plague of cervical cancer, and so there's hope. So ask your doctor about HPV vaccine today.
And make sure you check out bellaniger.com for more information. This campaign is throughout the month of October. So if you have, I don't know, if you want to read up on it, if you just want to understand more, feel free to go over there. Thank you so much, Dr. Rena, for stopping by.
This was so nice. You guys must have me back.
Oh, definitely.
Yes. And every time I post something about my kids, once or twice, I see him like defending them. And I'm like, you're not in the house. Why are you don't even know what happened. Why are you defending them?
My goodness.
So thank you so much for stopping by. This has been very, very insightful.
Yes.
Thank you.
And enlightening. And yes, please listen. Please get yourself, screened regularly. And of course, find out about the vaccine, the HPV vaccine. Okay? All right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you. Welcome to Money Zone, brought to you by Money Point. If you're watching us right now, take your phone, go to your app store or your Play Store, download the Money Point app because you need it in your life.
Yes.
Whether you're a business owner or whether you are just, a regular person who just wants efficient banking, you need to get it. Now, within Money Zone, there's something called Money Shout. And in this segment, we'll be giving a huge shout out to businesses out there who are grinding hard in spite of, these harsh times. Now, to get featured, you can get featured as a business owner, by the way. To get featured, you must have a Money Point business account. Then we're going to put something on our page on Instagram.
On our Instagram page?
Yeah. All you need to do is follow the instructions there, or I can give them to you now. You need to basically post about your business, okay, and tag Money Point. If they see your story and they like it, and you have a Money Point business account, then you might be featured on this segment called the Money Shout.
Yep.
Very simple.
Absolutely. We could be giving your business a shout out, essentially, selling your market for you. And there's a hashtag as well, right?
Yeah.
It is made for your progress. So just like Bimi said, share your story on Instagram. Make sure you tag MoneyPoint and include this hashtag made for your progress. And we could be featuring you and your business on this segment.
And it's super easy to open an account. You don't have to go do any paperwork, no long queues at the bank. You can just do it right on your phone or your device or whatever it is. Very simple. Anywho, let's see who's on Money Shout today.
Yeah.
2 or 3 months ago. So I was robbed. I came into the store that fateful morning and I discovered that my store was open. And I didn't know what to do. My name is Udin Joseph. I sell provision and drinks. This should be likely 6 years. I finished school 2016-17. I saved my dad for 2 years or 1 year. Then I started more in 2018. Let me start this way. God has blessed me so far. God has really blessed me. Even though we human beings, we need more. I was attacked, I think, 2 or 3 months ago. Badly, I can't really remember. I think it should be up to 2 months by now. So I was robbed. I came into the store that fateful morning and I discovered that my store was open. And I didn't know what to do. So I asked someone, they locked the store for me. I got a key, locked the store, and then I went back to the house. I cried like a baby. I remember my little cousin telling me, "Uncle, don't cry now. Uncle, sorry. Oh, and even when they took us to station, to write their report, I couldn't even write anything. It's not good. It's not good to remember that stuff. When you remember the way all of those stuff, the money, it's not a good memory for someone to imagine to remember. It's a very bad memory. How did I bounce back? Within that period, I was handling a building project, and I didn't want that thing to stop. So I just wanted to have a little bit more cash to cover up for that loss. So the manager, they already had mentioned this Money Point loan for me. I didn't have interest of going for it, but after that incident, I had need for it. The decision was very hard, but I felt that, well, whatever. It's not a big thing to me. I can handle it. So I had need for it, and they gave to me. It was really, really, really helpful to me because it minimized the pressure I would have had without the money. Me, I knew that I just know I cannot fail. I needed the money to just support myself because I know if I get the money, and just having the money is very good because big money also pursue big money and small money pursue small money. And I'm happy that there is transparency in this thing. At least it has given me the experience I wanted to know that it's not something that one should be fearful. The experience was not difficult. I just told him if he can assist. Initially, they told me whether 4 point something or thereabout. Somehow, because we dropped those people that used to do that sales, the way we use this thing reduced. So he now said that at this point I cannot collect that amount again. I can only collect that 3 point something. I said okay, no problem. All of a sudden I saw they credited me, and then I said okay, no problem. Thank God. They say it's for whether 6 month or 3 month plan. I said let's go for the 3 months so that we'll just clear our head from that stuff and move forward. But in summary, the money helps me because it helps. It really helped me. People believe that provision business is all about 5 naira. But I think that with the way the economy is going down, some people will come to know that they were wrong in their view. It's 10 naira business, but there is something more than that 10 naira. The money point helps us to make business easy. At least without this machine, our business will not be complete. There is no way we can do right now without the machine. Since some customers are already used to the ATM card, it's really helping us. It helps, and then beside that, it's fast. People comment it and say that it is very fast. So on that ground, I like it. I like it also because the issue of going to bank, it has also helped me because to count this money saved, that's suffering. It's suffering. Yeah, so sometimes you ask your boy to help you arrange that. Sometimes you count money in volume and then you give it to someone to take it to the bank, and the person comes back and tell you that 30,000 are short from that money. When you yourself, you know you will not even make a profit of up to that amount. This war is because of what happened. I did this because of for protection. My name is Udim Joseph. I'm from Akwa Ibom State.
This has been a very informative episode. We've talked to you about money. We've talked to you about tax. We've talked to you about investment, savings. We've talked to you again about money. We've talked to you about health. And we've entertained you. And we've given you looks. You're so lucky.
All in an hour or so.
Also.
All right. So thank you so much for watching.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching this episode. Make sure you subscribe, share with your friends, forward it, to your the different WhatsApp groups that you're in. All of them. It's okay. They don't mind. There's that one person that's been sending nonsense. This is good stuff. Okay. All right. Have a fantastic weekend, and we will catch you next time.
Bye.